means. I mean, I believe in an eye for an eye. I mean, if you murder somebody, your life should be, I mean, there are people who committed murder, and they're doing 15 to 20 in prison. I mean, if you take a life, your life ought to be ended in one form or another. Either total life in prison or death. Now, I'm not saying I completely agree with capital punishment, but at the same time, it does depend on the case. It depends on the case. But there are people serving, major amount of crime for marijuana, despite all these tests that are showing that it slows cancer rates. What is it? Vitamin B17 was shown to slow cancer rates. They can't let you get too healthy now because you got to keep paying those doctors. You got to keep paying that insurance. But why does none of this matter? When literally your government has arrested people for expressing their First Amendment right. Because it can be taken from you. This is why it should be bothering you. Because, see, there was a time, and I know the right people. See, I've got a faith in a way that is just completely supreme and divine. I know my words will reach the right person. I absolutely have complete faith in that. I may never know who you are. You may never register with Spreaker and make a comment. You may never go to the Socratic Method Facebook page and leave a comment and say, "Hey, I heard your podcast. Really moved by your dedication here to the truth and the unity of humans the world over." You may never say a word. I may never know you. But that one right person is going to hear this. Because I want you to reawaken that energy you had as a kid. There was a time when you believed and when you cared enough to believe that you could make a change in this world. A time when you knew you had the power to make a positive change for the greater good. I want you to reawaken that. You can write, you can work a camera, you can voice your opinion, you can, whatever your strength is, to get other people to wake up to the truth. People the world over are, and it's not just Native Americans. Everybody who's a subject in the monarchy is a slave, an absolute slave to the system. Because that's what happened. If you get to the point and say, "Geez, what happened? I used to believe that. I used to believe I was going to change the world." See, but you grew up. You got older and life happened. Got a job, got a family, got a house, got to make that car payment, got to buy that food. And now your only version of greater good is your immediate family. But hey, and not that I disagree with that, but see, this will affect your family. Because, see, this case that's going to be brought against Shailene here and these other journalists is going to determine the validity of your First Amendment right of freedom of speech. See, you were trained to be the exact worker bee for their system. And again, I'm calling this the white way. And it has nothing to do with skin color, because I'm white. I reiterate, my skin color is as white as white. But what's my blood? does it even matter? Hell, I mean, I have issues with the concept of evolution. Not that it didn't occur, and not that there was not creation involved. I call it creative evolution. I'm not saying we're monkeys. I'm not a monkey. Hell, I'm Rh negative. My rhesus factor doesn't exist. And I have no direct line to a monkey. And what's the rhesus factor? Anyway, who does that? I mean, I'm not questioning science here. In fact, I'm thinking that saying that science reaffirms the truth. There is a science behind everything. But again, the system that was forced on you, you are a slave to that system. You were trained to believe this is the only way, the only existence that you can hope for. But people, if you just get your heads out of your asses, and it's not your fault that it's there, it really isn't. Like I said, you were trained. One of your first questions in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? If you say anything other than an occupation, you get corrected. You're programmed that the only way you're going to survive is to have that job. Now you see, not that Native Americans didn't have a system, but their system was more open. It was a free system. You're hungry, you go hunt. If you're nomadic, you follow your food. The earth provided everything you needed to live. Everything. There was no government. Not saying there wasn't a system in place, but it was very centered around the will, the unanimity of the tribe, of the people as a whole. So you were already told your head had to be up your own ass, basically, to be blind. And they work their asses off and spend billions and lose trillions to keep you there. But it's my hope is that you rekindle that passion to make the world a better place. And by better, I mean the greater good. The greater good. So here's what's at stake again with that case. I mean, they're already working on your rights to have guns. They're already working on getting rid of that. So now, this, as I said, these cases, they want to make it so that you can't have free speech. It's happening right before your own eyes. And most of you don't even care. Because you keep hearing and listening and feeding the propaganda machines. Oh, that's not going to happen. Oh, that's not going to happen. It's not going to be like that. And in your lifetime, it may not exactly be. It may not. But it could. Go ask some of those people that had to escape from Germany. Go ask them how quickly things changed. Go ask the families who will tell you now about their grandparents that were in the gas chambers, firing squads, whatever crazy, and some of these methods were absolutely insane, in which they were experimented on and used to test weapons, body armor, things like that. Go ask if it could happen to them. But you don't care. You know why? Your job is to be sure to be a good consumer. Drink your fluoride, pay your taxes, and everything will be just fine. Yes, I keep mentioning fluoride because fluoride was the main ingredient in rat poison. I mean, it's the main ingredient in not the main. It is an ingredient of Prozac. It dumbs you down. For fun, go to Google. You know, because at the moment there's information. For the time, there is information that will illuminate your mind. How many countries have banned fluoride and why? And see what you get. I remember all those commercials about fluoride. I guess they still air. This toothpaste, blah blah blah, fluoride strengthens your teeth. But like I said, if you read the instructions on a tube of toothpaste, it says put a pea-sized bit on your toothpaste and brush your teeth. Now, if you ingest any, call a poison control center. Really? For a pea-sized amount of toothpaste? There is enough fluoride in that pea-sized amount of toothpaste as there are in 8 glasses of tap water. So you're going to get a pretty concentrated amount of fluoride if you accidentally swallow that toothpaste. When your toothpaste tells you you need to contact a poison control center, there's something seriously wrong. But yeah, drink your fluoride, pay your taxes, everything will be just fine. Be a good consumer. You're not worth anything to this government if you're not a consumer. But here's some perspective for you, on this whole issue about being a consumer. Now, I was going through a random search one day and came across an article that talked about a particular cemetery. I was actually doing family research, and I came across an article in which someone was buried at a cemetery in Harrison County, here in Kentucky, next county over. And this article talked about how the burial plots were about from $10 to $20. And today, and I may be stretching this because, I mean, I have not had to research the cost of a burial plot today, but from what I understood, $1,500 to $2,500 for the same damn hole in the ground. Never mind the fact that it can be dug with a machine now in the matter of, less than an hour, for sure. It's not going to take that long for a backhoe to dig a 6-foot hole in the ground. And if your local area is anything like mine, there are rumors abound in the Potter's Field section of cemeteries that graves are being stacked. I don't know how many times I've heard, and I've talked to people who were directly at funerals and said, in the bottom of the grave, they could see the top of a vault of another grave to make money, to save money. Hell, we just had a guy here recently indicted who was operating a cemetery for not providing tombstones and other things that these people who had their families interred there. I mean, he was taking the money for all this stuff, but he wasn't providing the tombstones. I think they'd mixed a couple of graves up, names and whatever. But anyway, $10 to $20, and now it's $1,500 to $2,500, I think, just for a hole in the ground. Now, what are you paying for?